We wanted to talk about imposter syndrome. There's always the next thing, so you're never fully satisfied with the wins you currently have. I don't have imposter syndrome. I believe I worked hard for everything I've gotten. That is a lie. I'm still looking around like, I get emails every day inviting me to experiences, and I'm like, why me? Social media is such a mental game. I know what sets me apart from other people and why I don't think I do as well. It's because I don't have that like audacity, even though I think I do. I think I posted 3 times for them for 90,000 toilets. That's it. Influencers don't work hard enough. But it's true. I feel like one day people are gonna look and be like, how did she get here? If I just get the camera, I'm gonna start posting. If I just get a new iPhone, if I just, the only thing you should be thinking about is passion. I promise you, that's all you need, because you're even gonna be fulfilled by that.
The thing in your ass that has like the tissue, like when you overstrain like the annals, and then like, yeah.
How did we get here?
Welcome to Am I Too Loud, the podcast.
Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. Hi, that's a terrible intro, Sophie. Oh my God. Let's try that over. I'm on my period. You know what's something I think, Donald? I feel like if I was ever pregnant, it would be so obvious online, because every time I get my period, I feel like I announce it. Like I'm doing something that like I have to be like, guys, I'm on my period. That's why I'm cranky. And I love that. Random fact. Also, let me introduce the podcast, and I have to tell you something about periods. Random. Hey guys, welcome to Am I Too Loud, the podcast with Sophie, aka the Odditty. Today's gonna be a fun episode. We're gonna be talking about imposter syndrome, Alona Mayher, casting drama. We're gonna be talking about some odd submissions that you guys submitted to us and so much more. But also when I'm talking about like just what's been going on in my life, what's been going on in Donald's life. Hi, Donald. Donald is my producer, but also my kind of co-host at this point. Though I don't like to say that because it makes him feel good about himself, and I hate that. So I'm a terrible person. He loves me anyways. Hi, Donald. How are you feeling?
I'm good. How are you feeling?
I hate whenever you do a sexy voice when you're talking. Why did you respond like that? I'll fight you later. Let me tell you about the period thing. Okay. So I just got back home. I traveled somewhere, and where I went to get pads because I forgot my pads at home. And when I got there, the lady at the store was like, oh, let me give you a bag so you can cover up your pads and your tampons. And I was like, why? And she's like, oh, just to make sure you're okay. And I'm like, I literally just looked at her and I said, we all bleed. Don't we all bleed? Like, why am I hiding my pads and my tampon? So on the flight, when I was going to go change my tampon and pad, I literally just picked it up. Like, I didn't fold it under my shirt. I didn't fold it anywhere. I just held it. And I walked into the bathroom to go change and come out. And I could see women smiling. A few men were like, looking at me weird. Like, what is she holding? They just looked confused, but nobody reacted negatively. Like, nobody actually like frowned at the fact that I was walking around with a pad and a tampon. And I know this is not the episode for that because this is like so random and off the cuff. But the idea of like the period stigma is so interesting to me. I wonder if it's because of like the blood. Is this a random
It's definitely
intro?
blood.
Right? I feel like I think that's what it is. Like the idea that women bleed and like the people don't want to see that, but you're not seeing it. And then pads are so brightly colored, like they're so bright, like pink and blues and greens and yellows and lights and all that stuff, that it's really hard to hide it anyways. And why am I hiding the fact that I'm bleeding? If I don't bleed, then I'm having a child, and a child is a gift from God or whatever the fuck they say.
What it is? I think let me speak for my gender.
Are you want to mansplain to me right now?
No, I'll speak for my
okay,
gender.
on the here.
Right?
Yeah.
I think I grew up in a house with a lot of women.
Yes.
So I got used to it because
I
used
don't
to
count.
run errands, right? And they'll be like, oh, go get this. So I can understand. I know the one that overflow, all of that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Okay, good job, Donald.
But
tell me.
Even till now, sometimes randomly, if I go into the bathroom and I see like a blood stain, like the one that
just like randomly.
I'm always so confused, and I think the reason is because it doesn't happen to me.
Yeah.
And because it's not my experience, I forget about it.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's like in that moment, you're reminded that like, oh, what is that?
It's a thing.
Like, what is this thing that like you're doing?
I feel like that's something I might be newly passionate about is period stigma.
Newly?
I'm newly passionate about it.
Oh, the stigma.
The stigma around it. Because like, I talk about my periods a lot, and I don't see as anything crazy. I found out about the cup thing through your video. Yeah, so I talk a lot about like when I first started like menstruating, I would just use I'm an African woman, so I was only taught to use a pad, and I was told that, this is not even the episode for that, but let's get into it real quick. When I first started my period, I was told that, Donald has a question?
Can you explain the cup after you finish?
Yes, I will. Okay, should I bring it?
No.
Okay.
You can. It's a free word.
Okay, we'll talk. If you're listening to audio, like, what the fudge? Okay. First of all, when I first started as an African, I was taught that, no, as an African, I shouldn't say that, but the community I was raised in told me, I know, but the community I was raised in told me, like, I could only use a pad. And if I wasn't using a pad, I couldn't use a tampon, because if I used a tampon, that means I was not a virgin anymore, because tampons disvirgin you. That was what I was told. So for me, tampons freaked me out. Like, I just didn't use it. But I also, like, pads, like, were just there. Like, that's all we use. And that's why I know a lot of African women are raised. But I'm very nosy. Like, am I too loud, y'all? The podcast, my name, everything. Like, I've always asked questions. So in my head, I'm like, I just don't feel like pads, I don't think they're the best way to do this. Like, they don't feel like the healthiest way to handle bleeding every month. It can be good for the environment. It can be good for your coochie. And it just, it's so, I'm bleeding. Yeah, but I'm bleeding into myself. Like, I don't know why, but it just didn't feel good. But I just, that's what I knew. I moved to America. I was in college. I had friends who were like hip. You know, the cool girls, the outside girls, the ones who are fast is what you used to call it, use tampons, right? And I'm learning quickly that it doesn't mean they're fast. It just means, I don't want to say they're educated, or maybe just like researched. And so a friend of mine, Chizzy, used tampons, and I tried it with Chizzy. Or I don't even know if she like put it in me. I don't know. Good friends. I just remember there was one time we went on spring break and we were all trying to figure out how to put tampons in because we didn't know how to do it ourselves. And I realized that it was a lot easier to survive tampons. And then I started researching healthier period methods when I had some issues with birth control. And I discovered period panties, period cups, period discs, and so much more other alternatives to just the pad. And so I'm a very big period experimenting human, basically. Like, because I think the woman's body is not talked about enough, because like there's not a lot of research around like how to even go through the period experience better. Like, if you go to the doctor and you say you're having terrible cramps, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, that's normal. No, it's not. Like, there's so many things about our body that's not researched and it's not talked about. And I think for this one, I wanted to make sure like if I'm going to be going through this every month till I'm at least 50, 55, I want to be going through it as comfortably as possible.
50? When does menopause?
Menopause, like 45 to like 60. Yeah. Sometimes people get late menopause. Sometimes people get early onset menopause.
Does it? I don't know.
I don't know, right?
Yo, I remember my mom was in menopause.
Heat flashes are a thing. Like, God. I know I'm bald, so like I'm gonna have heat flashes, and then you can feel the heat up my head. Is it crazy? I used to ask her, like, bro, you're sweating like crazy. Yeah.
And then we would talk about it, because my mom is a nurse. So she's like, oh, you know, is this, I'm going through this. And I was like, oh, that's so
wow. It's so interesting. Like, the human body is so interesting. Like, the woman's body too. Like,
what
how
about
we
the
navigate.
Women who are like, you know, they don't want pads, tampons. I don't know if you've ever seen those
people
pictures.
Free bleed. Yeah.
And they're walking around the street.
I'm telling you, free bleeding is the best thing, because you don't bleed more. This is so, like, this is not researched in any way. I'm just letting you guys know. I'm telling you, when I use my period cups or anything less invasive, I bleed less. When I use pads, I bleed more. And people talk about how this is like a conspiracy theory, but the things they put in pads allow more to come out, or at least like affect your pH balance or to where like you want to buy more pads. Like,
it's probably like using like tissue paper.
Yeah, and you keep go, because you know like it's not good for you, but you can keep using more and more because you need it, and then you can buy more, and then it's like it helps the company. That's what it says. Because when I use period cups, I'm telling you guys, I'm bleeding at least 70% less. And when I'm free bleeding, that I'm just like, I've only done that once. The day I free bled, it was my heaviest, because I bleed a lot. Like, when I'm using tampons, I use 8 to 12 super tampons a day on my first 2 days, plus pads. That's how bad my bleeding is. When I'm using a cup, I change my cup twice a day, and they're not even usually full. They're just like, and I'm not even using a full cup, because it's just different. I don't know. This is like such a niche conversation. What's a No, I've not.
It's called a hemorrhoid, right? The thing in your ass that has like the tissue.
The clots?
It's like when you overstrain like the anus, and then like, yeah.
How did we get here?
It's the same bodily function.
I don't know if I would. Okay.
I know the entire time you were talking about it, I was like, oh my God, I wish I could relate to this. But I'm like,
and that was your closest way to relate to it.
Yes, I've never had a hemorrhoid before, because I'm like, where else do I bleed? Where I could probably like need it. No, that the entire time I'm like,
I want to relate. Let me figure out.
Because it's like, it's not cool though. I don't think it's cool that only women get to have their periods. I think y'all will shoot me for this, right? I think it would be cool
if men had periods.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think childbirth and the experience of giving a child
not childbirth. Like, I'm like,
let me explain.
Okay.
I think the entire process isn't fair on women. And again, that's why I say Eve if that story is true.
You think it's bro? You're Muslim. How do you?
Let me explain.
Okay.
Because I feel like this is like the punishment where women have to deal with.
Okay.
Right? Because like.
Oh, okay. I see your point.
We're going through. Like, do you know what? PMSing, the luteal phase, bleeding, cramps. You're shitting and then you're diarrhea and then you're passing out. And you're
What's your ideal situation?
I think it needs to be split.
Men should have the head, like in the baby, and then they join the head afterwards.
Okay.
Think about it.
No.
Okay.
Bring it back. Bring it back.
Think about it.
Bring it back.
The man is the head of the family. So shit. No, but think about it. A man and a woman have coitus, right? The man gets pregnant and the woman gets pregnant. The woman grows the body and the man grows the head. Because remember,
how does he pass the head out?
So in this scenario, he would have a body thing.
A hole.
Because in this scenario, the hardest thing for the woman is the head. The head is always the hardest.
Yeah,
because the head comes
big
first.
Or small, yeah.
Right? Because if you flip it, then the pregnancy, I don't know, I think the baby will probably die if it comes with the leg, right? I think the head is the right way to come out.
I don't know.
So take the head away from the woman.
Okay.
So she doesn't have to feel that extreme pain. She brings out the body, which
I
is
feel like the
really
entire
tiny.
process is extreme. Let me pull that back. Let me tell you what I want to happen. I think that both people need to go through some sort of menstruation thing. And I think that's my thing. Because, you know, like, when we're menstruating, it's because that's when we're supposed to, like, your egg is supposed to be fertilized and da-da-da-da-da. And then you menstruate because your egg is fertilized and the uterine wall is falling off and da-da-da-da, right? Okay. I think that men should only be able to have sex and ejaculate. How do you say that word? Ejaculate. Ejaculate. What is an American accent for that? Ejaculate. No. How would an American say it?
Ejaculate.
Ejaculate. No, it doesn't sound right.
Ejaculate. Let's try.
Listen, let's try to Google.
Alexa, pronounce ejaculate.
I pronounce that ejaculate, but I'm always working on how I say things.
No, you're good, girl. Alexa, stop. Thank you. Ejaculate. Okay, so I feel like men need to suffer through that.
Okay.
Because I think if more men had to go through pain to ejaculate, they wouldn't ejaculate as much as they do.
Okay.
And then there will be less babies. Does that make sense? So, for example, like, maybe in the grand scheme of things, like, for you to get the amount of semen you need to have a good orgasm as a man, you need to, like, go through some form of the menstruation cycle. Maybe like your body's gathering the semen from your body, and that's a painful thing that we have to deal with.
So it makes ejaculation intentional.
That is what I think is missing.
Feel it. So now that when you look at that baby, you're like, you know what?
I worked hard for that child. Because right now it's easy. Boom, boom, done. It's not fair.
Okay.
Because women, we like that egg, we go through a lot for that damn egg. Men, there's like 100 million semen just on the egg. It's not fair. But if they're able to find a way for a man to have, like, okay, we know that for men to get the appropriate amount of, like, semen in their thing for, like, a good week's worth of masturbation and children, they're going to have to go through a week of cramping and hormonal stress and everything like that. Let's see how many children will be in the world.
That would actually solve what I think is the biggest issue with men too, though. Masturbation.
Exact masturbation, right? This was not the episode for this conversation.
No. I don't know how we got here.
I don't know how we got here, but that's going to be a wild clip to cut. I'm just saying, I feel like that would solve a lot of issues. Anyways, guys, I don't know how to shift gears from that, but...
No, because like men in this scenario, they were imposters.
Okay, please. That's...
No, it worked.
It did not.
No, you don't think we're imposters? In the
grand scheme of okay, we're just going to jump straight into today's episode because we wanted to talk about imposter syndrome because Ilona Mayhar, she is a rugby player who just, I think, is going to be playing for London as well. Now, you guys, this is one thing I want to learn about podcasting is, like, I need to have, like, you know, all those, like, official podcasts have, like, notes. Don't know, it's a terrible producer because you should have notes. So we should be like, this is what she is, this is her accolades, so I could read it out so I look like I'm responsible.
I didn't even know who she was.
We should talk about that. Is it really? You don't know who? She was, like, a fantastic player at the Olympics past year.
Playing what sport?
Rugby.
That's why.
Oh, you've never played, like, you don't know what rugby is?
No, I know, but nobody watches.
Nobody watches rugby. Well, they watch because of her, and she's fantastic. Anyways, the point is she's one of the biggest stars. Okay. She's also effortlessly funny on TikTok. So she did an interview recently where she was asked, like, how do you deal with imposter syndrome? And she said, what is that? Like, I don't know her. And you guys, that was the most refreshing thing I've ever heard. Because I think as a society, we're so used to hearing that question or just assuming everybody doesn't think they work hard for what they're doing or what they're getting. And to have someone as talented as her say, no, I don't have imposter syndrome. I've worked really hard. I practice every day. I research. I'm scrolling on TikTok to learn funny things. Like, I put in the work. So when I do get the rewards for it, I'm really proud of myself because I am working hard. And as an African immigrant child, imposter syndrome, I think, is like bred into us. Like, because you can never be good enough. Like, that was the biggest thing I struggled with growing up, is like, am I good enough? Like, if I'm getting all A's, my mom is still going to maybe say, yeah, you got all A's, but you didn't clean the kitchen today, so you're not really doing well. Or what about this person who got all A's, but they were also commended and they got this instead? You know what I mean? Like, there's always the next thing. So you're never fully satisfied with the wins you currently have. And this is something that I feel like maybe especially women, and we'll talk about, of course, men too in that situation. A lot of women grow up just understanding, like, you're supposed to shrink yourself, make yourself smaller. You're not supposed to be heard. You're not supposed to like celebrate your wins, because if you are, then you're cocky or you're arrogant. Like, and when she spoke, she didn't sound cocky or arrogant. She sounded very like matter of fact.
Right.
It was very like, no, I'm successful. Like, why am I gonna be telling myself you don't deserve the success because you work hard for it? So here's what I want to ask Donald, and I want you to ask me. How do you deal with imposter syndrome if you do have it? Do you think you have imposter syndrome?
I don't think so.
Yes, you do. Please.
No, I
Donald,
don't.
should I call you out?
I have a distraction syndrome.
No, you have imposter syndrome.
No.
Donald?
No.
Donald?
No.
Okay, explain.
Give me. Because as you're talking about it, I thought I had imposter syndrome too. But as you're talking about it, I was like, you know what? Like,
let me not convince you otherwise.
No. The concept of putting in work and getting the reward and feeling like I don't deserve to be in that place where I am, I don't feel that.
Okay.
Right? My issue is I'm constantly going through life and I have a lot of like heavy distractions that come from where, like, the world that I exist in. That's my biggest thing.
No, because I feel like you always ask yourself, how did you get here though?
Yeah, no, because like, but that's not, I don't think that's imposter though.
Okay, I feel like because I was over explaining it, that's why you feel that way. You guys, I think Donald has imposter syndrome.
I don't think so. You give me an example.
Okay.
And then we can debate it.
Okay.
Do you think you have imposter syndrome? Because I don't think you do.
Oh, no, I do.
So that's crazy.
What do you mean?
No, because what you just said.
No. Everything she says is valid. Doesn't mean I don't have it. Like,
Okay.
I want to respond the way she did. And once I heard her talk, I'm able to start saying, I want to start responding to that with, I don't have imposter syndrome. I believe I worked hard for everything I've gotten. But I also know that is a lie, and I'm faking it till I make it. Like, I'm still looking around like, no, I don't deserve this. Like, I get emails every day inviting me to experiences, and I'm like, why me?
That's interesting.
But I will say this.
Okay.
I think it's because, and I don't know if this sounds so weird to say, I think it's because things come very easy to me.
Right.
And I tend to think, okay, let me say this. Let me explain my reasoning. So I grew up with a very like academically focused family or like life, right? So how you calculated success is how many A's did you get? How many things did you do? So the career I have now, for me, this is an entirely new space. That's why I feel like I'm an imposter in the space, especially with social media and virality. It makes you feel like you don't know what you're doing, because I don't know what I'm doing. I just happen to be in this business. Like, is the podcast doing well? Is my content doing well? Am I doing well? I tend to think I'm not, because I don't know what my level of success looks like here. Now, if you tell me in school when I was getting my master's, do you have imposter syndrome? Oh no, I could write that essay quick.
Right.
I can argue. If I was gonna be a lawyer, I would have told you I would never. I'm so confident in that part of my life because I knew what success looked like. I could measure it. And I think for her it's the same thing. Like, she can measure success because she has it.
And clear.
Okay, explain.
She's a rugby player, right? The things she's doing,
she can see, like, right? You know what I mean? Like, I think it's also easy, right, for her to say, no, I'm successful. Like, I'm proud of it because I can see her success, right?
And the work too. It's like
That
think
she's
about the
put
amount of
into
work.
it,
Like
like,
it's training.
especially soccer players, basketball players, like
Yeah.
athletes. I feel like I don't think they can have. I know most of them probably do, but I think if anything, it's just the fear of like maybe losing it all or like not playing well enough. But imposter syndrome is like, no, I'm working hard for this shit. I deserve to be in this space.
Okay, so with athletes and soccer players, I've always tried to understand like their outlook at the things that they do, and I think it comes from submission,
Okay.
right? Like I feel like to not have imposter syndrome, and this is not like a conclusion,
Yeah.
right? It's my hypothesis, is you have to submit yourself to this thing where like the craft in itself is like the fact that you get to partake in it.
Yeah.
You owe everything to it. That like you can never feel like, because an imposter is like you feel like at some point you should be above it.
Above it,
right?
yeah.
It's like there's a goal.
Yeah.
There's a goalpost of like, oh, I want to be the best soccer player in the world.
Yeah.
I don't think, like if you do that, it's like, okay, per what? Like, is it by the number of goals that you're trying to score?
Mm-hmm.
Is it by like how many times you're training? Like think about like a Michael Jordan or Kobe, right? It's like you're training and training and training and you're trying to be a better person, but you're submitting to that thing.
Yeah.
But I think like for our industry, for example, it's pretty new,
Yeah.
right? It's like I posted a YouTube video yesterday.
Y'all, shout out to YouTube. We're gonna put Donald's YouTube channel in the description because we're really proud of him. Keep on.
Posted a YouTube video yesterday. And I've been posting. Like I've posted 7 videos this month.
Crazy.
I'm
You
telling you.
slow down, but
No.
crazy.
Yeah, if you
Proud
know,
of
you know.
I'm very proud of you.
And
I did
like-
not even know that. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Right.
So Donald.
Thank you.
Sorry.
So I made this video and it was like training for a marathon.
Yeah, I
day
saw
one.
that. Yeah.
I was so excited. I was excited about the thumbnail. I was excited about like the title, the video. I made it all with my iPhone. It was so fun.
I saw that. I saw
I
that.
posted it.
Okay.
And normally when I post videos, my average every single day is like
Yeah.
400 views.
Okay.
Right? 700, 1,000, 2,000. Now we start getting in a week.
I'm proud of you. Okay.
That video is at 36 views right
Okay,
now.
okay.
Right? And like, because we know back end of YouTube has decided we're not going to share this video to
At
anybody.
all, yeah.
It's not working. Like,
Yeah.
we're not going to do it. And I sat down for a moment and I caught myself. I was like, do I really want to make videos? Like,
Really?
because I was so excited. And I'm like, that level of disappointment, it's insane.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's like imposter syndrome, because to me, that's just like, whoa.
I think it's a part of imposter syndrome.
Okay.
But I also think social media is such a mental game 24/7. You know, I talked to you about this, where like you might be doing so well and then sometimes you might not, because it's a numbers game at the end of the day too that you can't control. The algorithm will always algorithm. Right. Because think about it from this example. No one right now, there's no big marathons coming up except for London in April. So maybe that video is going to do well and pick back up, and people are searching for marathon videos in 2 weeks. So keep it up.
And they
Keep it-
watch the
and they watch.
too.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think I always like to tell people whenever things like that happen that the race is just slow. It's like slow and steady with YouTube, because you saw like you're having your high, you hit that step and you're like, I don't need to be doing this anymore. I don't deserve this. Go to hell, da da da.
Recording another marathon video today.
You have to, because
Yeah.
like you have to keep going. And I always tell people like my arbinger for like success is like 6 months. If I do something over and over and over again for 6 months and it doesn't work, I can then switch it up. I could tweak a few things. But if I do it once and I'm like, oh, it didn't work, I'm going to change it. No, because you
Yeah.
never know what the politics behind that was in the first place for it not to work. You just want to keep going. Also, we've talked about this on your channel, and this is like breakdown for Donald's channel now. On your channel, like we know what works. Like we know what people are nosy about. You know, like they like the Tesla. Donald has a car. It's the Tesla. He really loves it. We hate Elon Musk in this house. We don't hate Elon. Do we?
We do.
Okay. We hate Elon Musk in this house.
Yeah.
But like, you know, whatever. He has a Tesla, he loves it. People love that. So maybe in between the passion videos, like the marathon videos, you throw in a Tesla video, right? In between apartment day in the life content producer video, you're throwing stuff like that. That way, like you're balancing it out, because you never know, right? And I think that's the biggest thing. So again, going back to the fact that I do think you have imposter syndrome, only because like I don't think you move through life confident about your abilities in a way that's deranged.
No, yeah. No.
You know what I mean? But like that is what,
I'm oblivious to that fact.
yeah, because like
Don't
you're
know.
so talented, right? And I think to not have imposter, okay, I hate that I just said that on the podcast because now it's on air. I just said it. Well, I'm so like you're so talented and you're so great at what you do that I know success comes from literally like owning that. Like I told you, like when we talk about content creators who are like us, like I know what sets me apart from other people and why I don't think I do as well. It's because I don't have that like audacity, even though I think I do. I still don't have the audacity of like I deserve to take up space, which is crazy.
It's crazy. No, it's crazy to think, right?
Because I am
Yeah.
literally sitting here on the couch right now talking on a podcast about some
Yeah.
crazy shit that we've
Yeah.
talked about here. But I'm doing that so comfortably with Donald, with the
Right.
Odd Fam, with the Pod Fam. Like, because I feel like I've built like this cozy knit of community with my social media family that makes me feel safe.
Right.
Any step out of that freaks me out.
Yeah.
Like, it just drives me crazy. Like, I don't know how to function. I don't think I deserve it. And 2025 is my year of saying F it. Like, I deserve to be here. I deserve to own this space. I want to be an actor. I want to be the next female Kevin Hart. I want to do all these things. And now I'm going to put like money where my mouth is and start investing in myself. And I think that's the difference when she was talking about not having imposter syndrome. It's also like investing in yourself so you know what success looks like and like pushing through. I know there's a bunch of like creators like Clark, for example. I don't know if you guys know Clark. Clark is this amazing TikToker, content creator who like, when she talked about, she was like, yeah, I've never had imposter syndrome too. Like she just like moves through life.
Yeah, I saw that too.
She just moves through life like owning it. And I remember I've met Clark in person and she literally is like that. She moves through life like she owns life. And I don't know if I can do that.
Do you think it also has to do with the work, right? And like, okay, let me tell another story. So this week, my girlfriend went to Sundance, right? She was in a film and she went to Sundance Festival. So, no, that's fine.
Okay.
Right, it was so exciting, right? And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay. She came back, and she had this like, she was having this crisis moment. I was like, what's going on? Because I don't know the name of the publication, but one of these popular publications,
Yeah,
right? It's
I
like
saw
Getty
that.
Images. They took her picture, right? And it was a photographer that took her picture, but they didn't put any other person on the cast in there. It was her, and the title was like Jennifer Lopez and like all these different.
I saw that post, yeah.
And she was like, she was kind of in a weird existential crisis moment where she was like, she doesn't understand why she's in the article. Like, it feels like, but like, you should be in the article because technically you were in the film at the festival.
Yeah.
And
she was stunning. She looked beautiful.
But it's like, why her? She was like, why her? Like, why me? So like, when you look at situations like that, I'm like, does that come from working really, really like hard, or maybe like she feels like she hasn't done
Enough.
the role?
She's also first generation, right?
Yeah.
That's a huge part to play in it, right? I think we're so used to, again, shrinking ourselves.
Right.
Because I also know, I know your girlfriend, right? And I know how hard she works. Like, she works a lot,
Yeah.
right? And I don't think we can figure out how to live life and coast through it. I'm not saying anyone who doesn't have imposter syndrome hasn't worked hard. I'm just saying that when it comes to like the things we've had to mentally deal with, especially dealing with family and meddling family members and all this stuff, it's a lot harder to not have imposter syndrome because your measure for success is way different from everyone else's. Like right now, I swear to you, I can call my mom and tell her like I just got this amazing thing. My mom will still tell me, oh, so you're not going to go back to your old job at that nonprofit that was paying you in DC like a mediocre salary? Why aren't you doing that instead? You know what I mean? Like for me, for her, that's where my success is and that's where it needs to be. And so even then for me, I'm like, okay, well, that means I have to prove something. So every time I'm in spaces, I'm constantly trying to prove to myself that I deserve to be there, when the fact that I'm already there is proof enough.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think it's something like you have to unconsciously learn that it's a bias that we all hold, especially if you're an immigrant, especially if you're someone who's first generation, who's coming here by yourself trying to figure your life out. You don't know what the ceiling is, especially in a country like America too. You're fighting so many demons. It's
like at any moment you feel like, oh my God, am I gonna fall?
Yeah.
Like all the way to the start.
Oh my God, I feel like that 24. Oh, let me tell you this. When I started making money as a creator, my biggest fear was losing it. And I didn't, like, I think my first big check was like $90,000 from a deal for a makeup brand. My first like huge, like, we're going to be paying you $90K for a 6 months deal. I was like, what do you mean? What do I have to do? And they said, I'm only posting, I think I posted 3 times for them. 3 Instagram posts for $90,000. That's it? It didn't make sense.
Right.
It can't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me. I can't understand it. Because for me, at that point, when I first started, I just would put my phone up, record a video, post it. And that's $30K.
Especially when you've not done it for a couple of years. Like, this is like your first year.
It's my first year.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
I don't deserve this. Somebody else deserves this. Like, give this money to other people who deserve it. Like, why am I the one collecting it? But then I realized the amount of, and this goes back to like that old conversation, like, do influencers work harder than folks who do 9 to 5? That's all debatable. It's not debatable. Influencers don't work hard enough. But it's true. But
In the moment.
in that moment, then I really had to sit with myself and think, do I deserve this? And the answer was yes. I've worked hard enough for that moment. I like the things, the planning that's gone into this, like the will, the drive, the unpaid hours, have all led to this moment. And we don't think about that when we first start, right? Like when we were talking about our journeys in previous episodes about how we've gone here, like when I used to work in college to like pay my bills, I used to like cook food for people. I used to work like shop secondhand. All those times where I would, beg my friends for cameras to take photos were all times where I was waiting for moments like this that it will pay off all those other times. You know what I mean? So even now, I still struggle with that. Like when I get opportunities to walk a red carpet, interview someone, I'm like, you think I should do this? But then I realize, yes, like who else would do it? Who else would do it the way I would do it? Right. You know what I mean? And that's the difference. I think that's what they call like someone like Kanye a genius, right? He's problematic, but in many ways, like being so unapologetically yourself and trusting your craft is something that I want to learn to do in 2025, because there's no good that will ever come out of second guessing yourself. Yeah. Because if you second guess yourself, that means you're telling other people to second guess you too. And I think that's not fair. I smell ganja. Why would I say it like that?
Ganja is fair. Yeah, I
was like, wait a minute.
And you're gonna keep. It keeps you like, I think bottom line is that reality is hard. Like reality is hard. Living in reality, that's one thing I've learned, right? It's like, I'm someone who like, you know me, right? It's like when things get like, a little bit uncomfortable, I go into my shell. I love it. It's very nice.
Yes.
I have a very nice shell.
You do.
You know?
You take very good care of your apartment and your space. You're very particular.
But lately, I think like
Donald's been outside.
I've been pushing it to the max.
Yeah, you have. Yeah. And let me tell you something. Let's tell you a story right now, you guys. So I just came up from a trip, and if you know Donald is very like, Donald doesn't like stress. Like Donald is a very, very, I know exactly what I need to do. I'm going to go there. I'm going to put things down, do this, go home. Donald's not the kind of person that you tell, hey, on your way here, can you help me pick up XYZ? No. You're mixing up his arrangement. That's not the plan. He just needs to get from point A to point B and do this. Especially because that means maybe like he's hot and then he has to move a jacket somewhere. Like he doesn't like shit like that. So already Donald comes. I'm not here yet. Donald's car, he forgot his keys or something at home. So already Donald's stressed out because now he has to wait. He already paid some money for the car park. He's just upset. And then I get home and my balcony door is off the hinge because of the wind in New York. So like, I don't know if y'all can hear some background noise a bit, but literally the door is they screwed the door shut because they don't know how to make sure it doesn't break open in the middle of the night. But that's all happening. I could just see Donald, like I could physically just see him trying his hardest not to just say, I want to go home. Like he's trying his hardest to just be like, I just want to go home. Like I want to go home, shower, be on the TV by his laptop and not outside anymore.
No, let me tell you, in the car, as I was sitting down, right? And I don't know why this happens to me. Because like, I do okay financially. I do okay. You know, and like today, I hate when like to fix things, it requires a little bit more money. And like the fact that I spent $30 extra than what I had planned to spend today.
I knew you were so upset.
It threw me, like, I'm just like, and I was sitting in my car and I started thinking about my life. I was like, wait, is this gonna affect like the month's budget? Am I gonna go over? Am I doing too much?
You're not.
And you know what happened?
What?
I received a notification from Credit Karma and it says my credit score went down by 2 points.
So you were about to cry.
Same moment. I'm telling you. I am good. Like nothing was helping that situation. Like nothing was helping that situation.
I could see the whole like just freaking out.
That's panicking. A good read on me though.
What?
What you just said.
Yeah, I know you.
No, that's crazy. That's a good ass read.
That's why Kirakima said it's okay.
Is that a bad thing though?
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's just a you thing. Like, remember, like, for example, you guys, I get Costco goat meats a lot. Donald lives in Jersey, so Donald can go pick up Costco goat meat from me. I would never ask Donald to do that. He did it once, and I swear that man was stressed. Like, I feel like if Donald could pull out the hair from his head,
It was fun though. It was fun doing it.
you wouldn't do it again.
Unless you were paralyzed.
Unless I absolutely had to.
Yeah.
No way. Like, I remember I was going to go shopping. I went to Costco myself. I thought about calling you. I was like, no. Because if I want to tell this man to go back to Costco and then come back.
Well, that was like the morning, right? Oh, yeah.
I was like, you're not going to do it. I just know you. I know how stressed you get.
Right.
Anyways, yeah. I feel like I don't know. I'm really proud of you, though. I'm really proud of how far you've come and how far we've come in, like, pushing past our fears and our mind. Because I think one of my biggest podcasters I also listen to is Mel Robbins, and she talks a lot about imposter syndrome and like let them theory, the idea that you can't control everybody or anything around you, so you just let things happen, right? And I think with imposter syndrome is the same thing. I'm just learning to let things happen and trust that I am well equipped to handle anything that comes my way, because I'm prepared for it. And if I'm not, I can wing it. Like, I can fake it till I make it, because that's what we all do.
So that question,
Tell me.
do you think we're going to make it?
In life?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm going to have a private jet that is solar powered, because it's going to be good for the environment. Elon Musk is probably going to be the one to figure it out, but he will. And all my friends are going to be so rich and comfortable, and they're all going to have their babies and their husbands and wives and marriages and all that stuff. And I'm going to just be the big auntie who's going to say, kids, or I'm going to call their big mummies and their moms and tell them that I am going to be coming to pick up the girls and the boys and everybody in between. So they should all have their landing pads ready. And me and my jet are going to pick them up, and we're going to go to Tokyo Disney for like 3 days, because we're going to have that much money to spoil every single person in my life. That's my dream. So I know I have to make it. Like, and I want my mom to have her own house, my brother and his kids to have their own house. I want you to like be super successful. Like, I want to make a name for myself. Right. And talking like this, I never used to do. Right. And I think we sometimes keep our dreams in our heads because we're too scared to say them out for fear that they would never come to pass.
Yeah.
This year, I literally said, I want to go on a cruise. I want to go backpacking across Europe. I want to travel more. I want to make more money. I want to be a millionaire this year. I want to sell this podcast out to a production company. Like, I'm literally speaking the things I want out.
Right.
Already, January hasn't ended yet. 4 of like 6 of what I just said is already happened. Like, I've gotten emails saying, do you want to go here? Do you want to travel here? Do you want to do this? I'm looking like, who's listening? What's going on? And it's not anything but speaking things out, because what we all tend to do is like hide our dreams behind our brains. Like, oh, like, no one knows. If nobody knows and you don't even know because you've never said it out loud, it's not going to happen. But once you start speaking your dreams out, I'm telling you, you even have to start guilting yourself into making it happen.
Yeah.
Like, if you told yourself this year, I want to do this, every day, if that's in the back of your mind, you're going to do it.
Yeah.
In one way or the other, you're going to make sure you're doing things to lead to that goal. Like, now, I said I want to travel more. Before, I would never think of like Googling flights. Now I'm like on Google half the time. Like, let me see a flight here. Where can I go here? What am I going to do here? Let's apply for visas here. Where can my green card take me? Like, now I'm doing all these things because I know that's what I want to do. And the biggest thing I'll tell myself this year, though, is like, I'll be so disappointed if we don't backpack across Europe.
We're going to do it.
I know we're doing it, but I'm like, that's like, that'll be the one thing that I know would break my heart if we don't do that. Because if we do that, though, I am forever changed.
Yeah.
Because that would show me that I am on such a different level than anything else.
Right.
All right, guys. Yeah, pretty interesting.
Quick lesson, right? And I think you guys can do this quick assignment. If you've ever thought about doing something, or like if you're thinking about and you've done it before, I think it's worth looking back and seeing the times when you've asked yourself like, oh, like I want to do this thing, I want this thing, and see that those are the things that have actually come to life.
Yeah.
Some call it manifestation. Because I look back, right? Even how we met,
big manifester.
every single successful and amazing thing that's happened in my life has come from like the things I've actually like unapologetically just went for. Like, like I have a company where I work with creators. There's nothing I went to school for like social work and psychology. and I went to film school. All those things do add up to the kind of person I am, but it's just because I was asking, like from the first client to the second client to the third client. So if you really look back, I think you'll be able to see like a pattern.
Yeah.
And if you haven't, then I think maybe it's something you should try.
No, for sure. Okay. We're going to do like a little like imposter syndrome starter pack. So if you're like, okay, so if you all have been talking about imposter syndrome, what it is, we're going to like talk about a few things that would be a part of like this being an imposter syndrome. And if you have or you think these kind of things, we're going to talk about how to like combat it. Okay. So first thing, you guys, is like over analyzing every achievement. So thinking, did I actually do that or did I just get lucky? Everything you do, you deserve. It is yours. No questions asked. No reason to doubt that. No need to question, because who else would have gotten it? That person you're comparing yourself to, comparison is a thief of joy. Be content, be happy, be proud of yourself. Stop overanalyzing that achievement. You did it. And if you did not get that achievement, it wasn't yours to begin with. And that's the difference. I feel like we tend to get into the cycle where we think we should have gotten something and someone else gets it. Right. And then we start beating ourselves up like, why didn't I get it? One thing that's changed my perspective of things is I tend to always compare myself to people, forgetting people have backstories. And that's always my good reminder. So I always tell myself, okay, there's this creator who like people always compare me to, right? And I'm like, if she gets something and I didn't, I'll be like, why didn't I get it? And I think to myself, I wonder if she has two parents or one. I don't know if she's an immigrant or she's not. I don't know if she has a trust fund or she doesn't. I don't know if she has money or she doesn't. I don't know if she has a supportive friend group or she doesn't. I don't know where she lives. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know when she has an agent. You know what I mean? Like, I start asking, not necessarily to like pull myself or her down, but to remind myself of the path we're all taking. Because my path is so different from her path or their path or your path. I think that is something like we need to constantly remember. When we compare people, we forget that human beings are so multifaceted. And that win that maybe you didn't get what she got or they got might have been something that would change their life in the best way because they deserved and needed that win. And your win is going to be coming. You don't know when, but you know when it does come, you deserve it because you've worked hard for it. So that's one.
That's number two.
That's number two?
Comparing
oh, wait, that's true. Number two is comparing yourself to industry giants, which I just really touched on. Like, yes, I did the school project, but have you seen what they did? Like, comparing yourself to them. We just talked about that. Comparison is always a thief of joy. 2023, my vision board, I usually write like little quotes, I think, that I know was like my biggest problem the year before. So, excuse me, for example, in 2022, I compared. Oh, my days. Oh, I was in the silent competition with these girls. Oh, Sophie, I couldn't post an Instagram post without going to that person's page and that person's page to make sure, what are they doing here? How did they do that? Why am I not getting that? I was in a tizzy. And then, so for 2023, I told myself comparison is a thief of joy. And then for 2024, the thing that was my quote was, we keep the promises we make to ourselves. Yeah. What was that thing on my mirror? I forgot it. That's crazy.
I think that's it.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was we keep.
You succeed when you keep the promises you make to yourself, something like that. Yeah. Basically like succeeding because I keep the promises I make to myself. And then for 2025, it was do it afraid. So like basically like the year before, what are things I struggled with and how am I going to end up doing them? So again, comparison is a thief of joy. Remember that. Dismissing compliments like a pro. Women do this so freaking much. Oh my days. My gender and every other person that signs to be a woman. We cannot take, oh my God, you're doing so well. Oh, no, you are. I'm telling you, like, that was something that I feel like I got called out on a lot in college when like, someone would tell me, like, I'm doing so well. I'd be like, oh, thank you, I know. And I would always say, thank you, I know, because I know. And that might come off as cocky. Some people hate it. Some people, like, would never say I know. I like to say it. And it always makes people around me laugh. But they're like, oh, my God, Sophie, here you go. But I know. You know what I mean? Like, if you see how well I'm doing, why do you need me to put myself down because you're complimenting that? Right. Why not even uplift me more for it? I want more people to say, thank you, I know. And I'm not saying I know to be braggy, even though it doesn't even matter. Like, I'm not saying I know to be annoying or to be uppy. I'm just saying it because I genuinely know how hard I worked. I'm really, really proud of how hard I've worked for that. I want you to know I know I'm proud of it, and I'm appreciating you by saying thank you for recognizing how hard I've worked.
Right.
Because what happens when you say, oh, thank you so much, and I'm shy of being humble, is fake humility. I can pretend to be fake humble, but I'm not, because I know I've worked hard. And I think once we start owning that, it's different. Like, men never say, oh my God, no, stop it. No, they say, oh yeah. No, I don't think they say thank you. Like, most times they're just like, yeah.
Even the ones that don't even work hard.
Yeah, even the ones that don't even work hard. They'll be like, yeah. Oh, like, yeah, you did so well. Oh yeah. Like, yeah. You know what I mean? Like, because that's literally what it is. Like, the confidence to own your shit, essentially. Okay, number 4 is feeling like you're faking it. So one day everyone realized I have no idea what I'm doing. This is my biggest crutch. And why I feel like I have imposter syndrome is because I feel like one day people are going to look and be like, how did she get here? Because I also ask myself how I got here. So I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. And when I look at people around me, which goes me back to me being comparing myself. That's why I told you I think I have imposter syndrome. I know I have it. It's because I also compare myself, right? I'll go back and think, okay, how did I get here? What are they doing? Like, oh, they went to school for this. I didn't go to school for I can't get that. Oh, maybe I should do it this way instead of that way. Like, what if I'm on the red carpet and I don't say the right things, but this person is saying their thing? It's okay. Your path is your path for a reason. It's okay to feel anxious about it, but also just knowing that you're not a fraud. You're not faking. You're simply learning as you go. That's one thing I've started thinking of. I'm learning as I go.
What's your relationship to failure? Right? Like in the moment where you make a decision, right? Like a bold decision.
Yeah.
And it fails. But it's like, it's the wrong one. What's your relationship to that?
I learn from failure a lot. I think because I'm a trier. Because, we talked about failure a bit. Like, I don't think you ever fail because you never stop trying. And what is the arbinger for failure? Like, who is telling you failed? Like, for example, the video you posted, the marathon that you said, oh, you got 36 views. You might think, oh, I failed because that's a terrible view count. You never know. Because you never know in 2 weeks whether that video is going to blow up or not. True. Whether if you change the thumbnail, it's going to get 20,000 views.
Change the thumbnail like 3,000 already. And we'll keep going.
Keep going. Right. I mean, that's literally what it is with videos and content and just life in general. It's like you're going to constantly keep trying. Like, the only thing, I can't imagine what I could potentially do right now that would be looked at as a failure. Unless, like, I'm getting F for grading, like, school.
It's your good point, right? Because it happens to me a lot in business, right? I think in business, like, I make very bold decisions because I have to. Yeah. I have to trust my gut. Yeah. And, like, sometimes my gut, like, throws me into the gutter.
Yeah. But, right? Like, what? Is that, like, financially? So, like, maybe you make a decision and the money does, or what?
I think it's financially, process, understanding people. Because, remember, there in certain places like that, like, in certain situations, you genuinely just, like, have clear lack of education. Yes. Like, you're making an uneducated, confident guess. Yeah. And I think I'm not, because you can always learn from things. I think it's how do you go out of that? Because sometimes, like, that blow is harder than other blows. Yes. And it's different. And especially if it's new, then it's like, ooh, how do you trust yourself again?
To do it again. And I think you're so right, but I also think you just literally just do. You just trust yourself. Because even when you think about the failure and what you're talking about right now in business, you're the only one who's telling yourself you failed at it.
True.
No one else is.
Right, that's true.
Like, nobody knows. Yeah. Like, besides you and your head, the entire world might just be coasting by and you're the one that's saying, I failed, look at me, I didn't do good. No.
And that's the crazy, because if you go 3-4 weeks and you're like, oh my God, like, I'm a failure, all of this, you would watch the world move on. And I think that's the craziest reality. It's like, if you don't do shit, you just watch the world and you're like,
no one gives a shit. Nothing happened. Because we forget that human nature is so, like, everyone's going through their own personal journeys, right? So even the battles within ourselves, I'm not even looking at you. Like, if I had gone past you, I did not even know your video didn't do well. I saw it and I was like, oh, I'm so happy you posted that video. I have not once looked at the view count. You probably have looked at it 20 million times. Yeah. I have not once looked at it. I know people who go on my vlogs and tell me how they love my videos and my vlogs are doing so well. They're so proud. They love my YouTube channel. And I'm like, that channel is terrible. Like, my vlog channel has not grown in years. And I'm scratching. I'm like, I'm failing at it. And everyone's like, no, you're doing so well. Oh.
That's crazy.
I'm doing so well now. I am. You know what I mean? Like, we're fighting mental battles instead of just like constantly commending ourselves. Because what would it look like if instead of constantly telling yourself you're not doing well, saying you're doing even better because you're posting? And so right now our margin for success isn't, oh, the videos aren't doing well. It's I posted 7 times this month when I used to post 7 times in 4 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're doing so well. And so I think reframing that in your head even changes a lot for you. Okay. We're going to move on to another point, number 5, constantly learning, never feeling good enough. So we just talked about like just one more course, one more tutorial, then I'll be legit. Just one more, maybe I need to get that camera. If I just get the camera, I'm going to start posting. If I just get a new iPhone, if I just talk to this person, if I just get that job, if I just. When I started, it was on a whim. It was nothing fancy. I used to borrow cameras. I know people who started with nothing because the only thing you should be thinking about is passion and how best you can share your passion with what you're able to do at that moment. Because people who are interested and bought into you will be interested in you regardless. No matter if you have the fanciest cameras or the cheapest gear. As long as you're able to share your passion, I promise you, that's all you need, because you're even going to be fulfilled by that. And like growth happens, right? Growth is natural. Like if you start posting 10 videos with your iPhone and you're like, okay, now I feel like I want to try a new camera. Makes sense. If I want to start doing this course, I'm like, oh, I've passed this course, I want to do something else. Like growth is natural, it's a process, and keep on going. It's also okay to just start where you are at. Because again, if you're not starting where you're at, then you're comparing yourself. And I tell Donald this a lot now. What I'm trying to do to combat imposter syndrome is whenever we brainstorm for content ideas or work stuff, we always tend to like Google stuff on YouTube because we're in an information age, right? Everything has been done in a way. What we're losing is authenticity when we do that. Because if we didn't have these gadgets, this social media, if we didn't have anything else, and we just sat and thought of an idea and executed it without looking at anything else, it would probably be the most us thing that we could have done without anybody else. Like this podcast is so us. Like everything we're saying right now is a mix of like, oh, how do we want to start? We had a whole plan to start the podcast. We started crazy. Okay, we went from menstruating to how men need to stop orgasming, whatever, to now talking about imposter syndrome. It was not planned. This is not like some structure that needs to, it flows. Authenticity is going to win, especially when we think about like, not to get sciencey now, like the advent of like AI coming in and like technology. Authenticity is going to become the new currency. Like how can you make sure you're truly who you are and you're just not talking through what ChatGPT is telling you? You know what I mean? And I think that's important when you also think of imposter syndrome, right? Because you can't compare yourself to machines now. You can't compare yourself. Like the world is going to keep getting better and bigger, and you don't want to constantly keep comparing yourself to the next thing and the next thing, because people who go viral on TikTok right now get viral because it's just their hands talking on the screen, or sometimes just their lips, or it's just their face. Like it's just them on camera. Sometimes they're fancy cameras, sometimes they're not. Like it doesn't matter, because as long as your passion is showing through, you'll be very okay. All right, number 6 is avoiding celebrating wins. This is huge for me too. Don't all the same thing. We don't celebrate our wins. And honestly, again, this was like 2 years ago was when I started, like, I think it was 25 was a big age for me. 25, 26. Those ages were the time when I started thinking about slowing down and actually enjoying where I'm at. Because again, imposter syndrome makes you want to constantly chase the next best thing. And for me, I'm realizing it's okay to celebrate where I'm at and actually enjoy the process to get to the next step.
You were very intentional with it. I think like
I've been so intentional now.
When we first started working, I would see you celebrate. Like I remember, remember the first channel we started. We hit 1,000 subscribers, and then I looked at my phone and I got a notification. It was like, oh,
Drizzly, the end of Drizzly now.
You have something coming. And I was going to say the name, but y'all didn't sponsor the Drizzly is coming, and I'm like, wait, what is that? And she sent me a bottle of champagne.
Champagne.
And I was like, nobody had ever done that like before. Like, absolutely. And I come from a family where like nobody buys, nobody presents.
Nobody like celebrates anything.
Like, everyone is just like moving.
Again, I'm telling you, like it's like I don't want, because I know the immigrant families that celebrate their wins, but like where I come from, like we don't. Like even my friends don't. Like I love my friends. Shout out to my friends. Like I had to really remind my friends to celebrate me. Remember?
No, for real. And it's because at first, right, and that's why it's important to listen, because at first I was like, oh, man, like she wants to celebrate like everything.
It's important to.
It's like, yo, this The first time I remember like 100 days of vlogging, like you're like, nah, but I'm like in my head, I'm like, yo, this shit is crazy. It's 100 days.
Honestly, this is such a random thing to say. White people be celebrating everything.
I'm telling
they
you.
Be chilling. The random shit. And people be
Do you know how many A's I got? Do you know how many? Do you know like I was like best student in geography, best student in integrated science. Like, do you know how many things that I did? Like,
nah, you wouldn't get them to jollof rice. They wouldn't even cook fresh food for you. Nobody
prize giving day.
Prize giving day.
My prize giving day is literally just like a bunch of kids and teachers and like parents are not there. I'm just like, wow.
There wasn't, no, yo. I think about it a lot as growing up and how these things impacted us. Now I remember like. I just hit 10,000. We just hit 10. Oh my God. We hit $10,000 on the podcast. I think a week ago now or 2 weeks ago. And I'm so proud of this podcast, y'all. And I remember I was so sad that day because I was like, oh, this is so huge. And none of my friends or anyone around me celebrated it. And I remember thinking, what? Huh?
We passed 11,000.
Ah! 11,000 bucks. That's iconic, y'all.
Yeah.
I remember thinking like no one celebrated me, and I realized I can't keep waiting around for the people around me to celebrate me. I'm gonna celebrate myself. You know, so I think I took myself out to dinner. I like did a little like celebration for myself, and I started thinking to myself, how can I start celebrating me and my achievements? Because also when you're constantly going to be achieving really cool stuff, at some point no one's gonna be able to keep up, and that's what you want, right? You want to start getting to the point where your friends are like, what else? What else do you want to do, right? And I'm really proud of the fact that I'm taking the time to sit in it. Because I remember when we talked about $10,000, I was like, okay, like my first thought was, okay, we need to go to the next one. I'm like, no. I've done it. Like for a brand new podcast, just me yapping on a couch in my apartment with Donald, and we're just talking random shit. We don't know what we're doing, but we're doing it anyways. We're doing really well. Yeah. I'm really proud of us. So we're going to keep celebrating our wins because there's no imposter syndrome here anymore after this episode.
So sometimes you think it's bad, but like wait till you see there are people who are at zero.
Yeah,
at zero is real.
Yeah. Okay, another one is having a stacked portfolio and still feeling behind. Like, sure, I've worked with big creators, but it's not that impressive. That is like when I think about all the brands I've worked with, and I'm like, but I'm still not doing enough. Like New York Fashion Week is coming up right now, and I'm like, I these brands haven't dressed me yet. I really want to work with Kate Spade. They've not reached out yet. I want to work with Laquan Smith. And I'm like, what do I need to do? What do I need to be? I'm already at this amount of followers. And I'm just like, enough. Sophie, enough. Because you're always going to keep chasing the next best thing. But I'm just simply accepting that when it's your time and owning that. Because like, it really is just that. Like, I can have these big dreams and still understand that I'm killing it for what it is.
Our really good friend, Drea.
Love Drea knows best, yeah.
She said something that I think is a good point here. She said, rather than study the greats, but also study yourself, right? And I think, because you said like having a stacked portfolio, right? It's like, I remember when I used to make music videos, there was no point where I felt like an imposter. I would look at a Director X, right? Who's like the guy who made Hotline Bling for Drake. And like there was no point where I was like, oh, I can't make that video. Yeah. I think the reason is because there's something about like curating your portfolio and reflecting on it. Yeah. And like watching that, like it reminds you. And I think like in social media, the difference is like we don't have that. Like, you don't have your portfolio somewhere where you can go and watch
the academia, right? There's no everything. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, F.
It's so spread out.
It's so spread out. So that's what I'm saying. It's also like you're playing a losing game if you're constantly comparing yourself, right? Because there's no blueprint to how this is going to go. The industry is so new too, and I think even at work, corporate life and stuff, right? Like everything is so new and it's so different. Like even when you talk about Director X and doing music videos, you're doing that in a country with everyone who look like you. Right. It's a different game because you're not competing with anyone else for racism or financial problems. It was just vibes and passion and who you know and who you don't, and it's different. Yeah. And so like I like to say just learning to not also compare yourself to the biggest greats, because again that's not where you are at that moment. I remember like when we talk about it now, every time I search for like a video idea on YouTube, I like to change the subscriber count to like my subscriber count. So I'm like, okay, if I'm trying to do this video, I'm not going to look at a Mr. Beast, because that makes no sense. Mr. Beast has been doing this since he was 12 years old or 10 years old. I'm going to look at somebody who started around the same time as me, right? Or who looks like me, or who's doing this way. Because in that way, it makes more sense to look at what they're doing if I want to emulate it, if I want to get inspiration from it, and so on. Another thing is ignoring past successes. I think like that's something that we always talk about too, is forgetting to take the time out again to celebrate yourself, be proud of yourself, know that you're doing enough. And I tend to always like forget that. Like the amount of times people would tell me, oh, you did this. I'm like, oh, I did. And every time I do like, like 2024, I remember every year people do like recaps and stuff. And I remember I never take the time to go back to my channel or whatever to say, oh, I want to look back and see what I've done. Because I just didn't have the time, or I tell myself I didn't have the time. My goal now is take the time to look through the past year, the past couple of years. And I do that sometimes when I do like Snapchat dumps now, where I'll like just go through like the months. Like I just did a dump for like 2022 March, and that was my first time going to LA, meeting my management team. And I'm like, the fact that I've known my team since 2022, I didn't even think about that. The fact that I was in LA at that point and I was in that zone, and I'm watching old Sophie and seeing how far I've come from now, it makes me feel so proud of how far I've come, but how far I know I'm still going to be going, because I can't imagine myself in 3 years what that's going to look like too. So I'm really proud of us. I know we've been saying that a lot in this episode, but imposter syndrome steals joy. It steals creativity. It steals your passion. It steals reality, and it steals the truth. Because the truth is, the only game you're playing is with yourself. Right? The only person you should be competing with is yourself. And even then, you're never competing negatively, you're competing positive. So if you really want to be the best version of yourself, you already know that at the points you are at your current best. Does that make sense? Like right now, me and Donald, we're at the best version of ourselves right now.
And it only gets better.
And it only gets better. And so if I want to do something else, I know I'm attacking that from the best version of myself. And no one, if you're looking at me right now, you're like, Sophie, I don't think I'm at the best version of myself yet. Who's deciding that? You are. So why not just start telling yourself you're the best version of yourself right now? Because there's so many things that you probably don't even have control over that you're having to navigate to decide to be the best version of yourself right now. So just do it. Allow yourself think you're the best version of yourself. Like I say, my biggest thing is always fake it till you make it. Because we're all doing that. No one on earth knows how we start versus how we end. No one knows exactly what you need to go, exactly what you need to do. Like we can all do the exact same workout from the exact same start point till the end and have various results. Because human nature is that we're all such individuals in what we do. So it makes sense that when we're chasing our dreams and our goals, that we're all going to have different results. The goal is to make sure you're doing it at your best. And you have to feel your best, look your best, decide you feel your best and look your best to be able to even find success. What is this, Donald? You put something else on my thing.
Yes, I wanted to share something.
Okay,
so this is a director. His name is Dakbo, but he goes by Flex God Daps, and he's the director of Bad and Bougie, The Migos, popular commercial director. And he posted this thing, and he's someone who moved from, you remember this song? No Kissing Babe?
Yeah.
Right, so that was his first music video.
Oh, okay.
And this was a music video that like, when he did it, like he was Gucci and nobody. I remember first seeing it, and then he blew up, right? And he posted this, I thought was very interesting. It was like, if you want to make it in the creative industry, here's my advice.
Oh, I love that. So first thing it says is it's strictly business. Do not let pride or emotions interfere with the best decision. Humble pie doesn't taste very nice, but make decisions for the long run, not for the right now. Humble pie doesn't taste very nice. I am learning that so hard right now. Because when I let me not stop yelling. Okay.
We're too humble.
Hey!
No, for real.
Oh,
Yeah. Like when we go out, we walk into a room, we're like,
hello.
Yeah.
Oh my God, hi guys. No. Because again, confidence, owning it. And especially because like as a Black woman, and even as a Black man, you're oftentimes trying to shrink yourself so you're not overconfident, you're not too loud. It.
Like, confidence is not rude.
Confidence is not rude. I like that. Okay, another thing he says is you can't please all the people all the time. People pleaser, Sophie. That's me too. So whether it's film, music, or photography, find your voice and be known for that. When I tell you guys the amount of calls I've gotten about the podcast and how raunchy sometimes it can be, how crazy it is, how out there it is, I'm like, am I too loud? Is the fucking name of the podcast. That was the point. I want you to see me in a different light because I am human. I exist in different facets and different ways, and I am me. And you can never, there's no other Oddity. I can't think of another creator who creates the way I do. I dare you. There's no podcast like this that exists with the conversations we have the way we have it.
Yeah.
There's no social media exists the way we do it. Even if we're trying to, even if we say we want to copy someone else's content, we still end up making it just like us because we're very individual and we're our own people. And I want anyone who's watching it to be their oddity. Like, be your oddity. Like, be unique. Be the odd person in your center, in your group, in anything you're chasing, because your voice is so important. And the audacity to just chase your dreams exactly the way you want it, I'm telling you, iconic. Okay. Everything is hard. Getting money is hard. Being broke is hard. Being great is hard. Being a loser is hard. Winning is hard. So if it's all hard, then as a Yoruba girl, I beg. I beg. I was trying my hardest. Let me read that again. Okay. Everything is hard. You saw me trying. Yo, for context, you guys, I'm from Yoruba land, which is like an ethnic group from Lagos, Nigeria. From Nigeria, sorry. My dad is from Osun State though, and if you're Yoruba, the letter H is really, really hard to pronounce. Okay, so we tend to struggle. It's called the H factor. So this particular thing says everything is hard. Getting money is hard. I don't even know how to say it right. Hard. Being broke is hard. Being great is hard. Then choose your heart wisely.
It's not hard though.
It's so hard, huh?
Received by your mama.
I'm telling you. That's so wicked. Okay, next one it says, it's a lonely road. Don't get offended that your inner circle doesn't understand your... That's what I was talking about with like the gifting. Don't get upset or offended your inner circle doesn't understand your goals, path, or vision. Just keep grafting. Someone special told me that too recently when I was complaining, kind of. I was like, oh, my friends didn't acknowledge like my podcast and everything like that. And she was just like, it's okay that they didn't, because you understand your visions. You understand your goals. You understand where you're going. So just keep going. It was really special. When you're down and things aren't going your way, dig deep to find resilience and patience. Every dog has its day. Your day too shall come. The quicker you realize that nobody owes you anything, the better off you would be. This is important.
Yeah.
Luck equals preparation meets timing. Do your 10,000 hours, but also put yourself in as many situations as you can so you rub shoulders with the right people. This I'm trying to do now.
Yeah.
I get really uncomfortable in social situations because I'm a chameleon. I shapeshift. And if you spend enough time with me, I feel like you realize that, okay, I don't really know who this person is. And that's not a bad or a good thing. It's just a thing. Because I think living in America too, it's hard to figure out where I fit in, and I'm always going to stand out. Whoa, why are you smiling?
Ooh. Do you think I'm like that too?
Yes, you are.
You know why I say so?
Why?
I think that's the reason why I love to stay indoors.
Because
sometimes I don't recognize myself.
I don't know who I am outside. Like, especially when I'm yapping. Yeah. Oh my God. And I'm
so good at it too.
I'm so great at it.
I'm like,
I am a liar.
No, for real though. That's why I be like, America is so scary because America will make you turn into a different person, and you start to be like,
I'm telling you this. So like right now, the person I am with Donald sitting here when we're talking, this is me.
Right.
This is me comfortably. This is Sophie yapping. My mouth is big. I say some crazy shit. We don't edit it out. This is me. When I'm at an event, and an event it's like 70% white, 10% other sort of races. There's brands, there are managers, there's this, there's that. I have to be someone else. Not necessarily that I'm not me. I'm me plus the added experience of being a Black woman who's a creator in America who wants to succeed, right? So it's a mental dance that I'm doing. And it is so exhausting to oftentimes put on that dance because I can't exist without that dance involved. Like there's always an add to it. Like if I'm at a fashion week event, I have to be snapped this way. I have to be doing this thing this way. I need to make sure I'm talking to this person. I just want to be my bubble. I want to be able to say my H factor. And I want to be able to like speak in an accent or speak Yoruba. I can't.
Right.
It's a different dance than what I'm used to. It's interesting that he says that, but I'm learning to rub the right shoulders, but also just still be myself, right? Still learn to maybe even have, at the end of the day, I think I want to get to the point in life where I am so unapologetically myself that it doesn't matter. This cycle of thoughts is perfectly normal. I have a great idea. Let me execute. This is dumb. This is dumb. I'm not good enough.
What's number one?
Number one is I have a great idea. Let me execute. And then after that, this is dumb. I'm not good enough. I'll push through anyways. This is pretty good. Self-doubt never completely vanishes. You just have to tell the little voice in your head to shut the up.
Yeah.
This is so true. Donald.
That's why I said
Donald.
I'm telling you, that's why I brought this up, because it reminded me when I saw it.
Because this is Donald to the T. Like, if one thing else, like, also, oh my God, you're so, like, Donald is so, like, you're so overprotective. You're very, like, I want a certain thing, and if it doesn't go this way, it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
And the amount of times I've had to, like, just let you sit with yourself for a minute and then come back to you and say, we're still doing it this way. I can always see you, like, trying to push back, which you're working on. I see that. But you tend to, because you're creative at heart and you see the vision. But I think you forget to see that the vision can come in different ways. Right. And it's okay if the vision gets, like, a little thing and a little shift and a little move and growth here and there. Because at the end of the day, like, that's what it's supposed to be. And if it's not executed perfectly, it's okay, because like, things deserve to change and switch. Anyways, I like that you saw this too then. Okay, another one says, nobody's coming to save you. Make yourself useful. You should be an asset to someone that's already working. Figure out how to make their creative life easier, and hopefully their work overflow trickles down to you. At the top, everyone is good at what they do. What separates you a lot of times is if you are likable or not. This I've realized too. It's huge, especially in a country like America. You want to be likable. You want to be someone that people remember because she was so sweet, she was so nice, she was so bubbly. You want to be memorable. So whatever that looks like, I understand that. If you don't ask, the answer is no. Closed mouths don't get fed, so get over your fear of rejection. This is so me. I ask every time. I am the one who's asking questions, who's taking notes every time. Nobody cares. Work harder. Imposter syndrome can try to tell you, womp womp, oh my God, I'm so sad, I'm so this, I'm so that. At the end of the day, nobody cares. You just have to keep working hard, because that's all you can do. Why is this thing so loud? Yo, I wish you could. My door is literally off the hinge right now.
It's just like, you didn't hear the sound. Yeah.
It's so loud, you guys. And then last thing is, everything sounds crazy until someone does it. Why not you?
Right.
That is me. It's so funny because I was just talking to Donald about this. I have a really good friend of mine call me right before we filmed this podcast, and he was going off. He was like, Sophie, what the fudge is wrong with you? Why are you going online talking about the last time you had sex was 2 weeks ago? And why are you talking about like your relationship status, or like whether or not you're gay or not, all these things. And I was like, you're stressing me out. I'm so stressed for you. And I was just laughing because I was like, if I don't do it, who will?
Right.
How many African women are coming online to tell you they had sex 2 weeks ago? Or how many African women are telling you that they might be gay or not? How many African women are sitting here telling you they're scared that their mother's worst nightmare? How many African women are telling you they are not sure where they fit in an American space? How many African women are sitting here telling you what their dreams are, what their goals are? There are probably a lot of African women who are telling you, but maybe I'm the loudest one right now. Maybe I'm even not. Maybe I'm a part of a group of women. I want to see more of us. So I don't give a fucking shit. Because if there's no one else doing it, I would love to be the first person to start. Guys, I just want to say this might be one of my favorite episodes so far, because this was a solid episode. Yeah. From the beginning to the end, this was a solid episode. I feel like this podcast it's crazy because when I started this, my biggest comparison to like podcasting is like Emma Chamberlain's Anything Goes, Call Her Daddy by Alex Cooper, Cocktails and Takeaways by Madam Joyce. I think those are the three that I would like watch to see like what I'm doing something.
What you're about to say.
What do you think I'm about to say?
It's like you're seeing it have a life of its own.
Yeah. And I thought I wanted to be like them, right? Because I thought that was what success looked like for me. And so when I started out and like it's weird to see where the podcast is going now and just how it's shaping up to be. I don't know what's working and what's not. I don't know what we're doing. But I'm so happy.
Because we see the feedback and
you guys love this shit.
I'm surprised that that's the episode that you guys like. Or I'm surprised that like this is how you feel about this theme.
Yeah.
So it's like what's the point of even like trying to shape
or fit into anything when we're just gonna constantly be loud as for no reason. Yeah. No, I'm excited. I think My Too Loud is my baby. It's our baby now, essentially, and I literally just landed 4 fucking hours ago, and I'm sitting here because we need to make sure this podcast comes out at 10 p.m. at night.
It doesn't feel.
I don't know. I'm really happy, Donald. I am so grateful. that I have this. I don't know. I don't know what to say, guys. This is gonna be our year.
Yeah.
Fucking imposter syndrome. I like that I did this right after the my mother's worst nightmare episode, because I feel like this feels in tandem with that.
Right.
There's so much I want for myself and so much that I hope to get. And I think for Donald too.
Yo, I
I'm
have
really
no
proud of
idea.
us. I don't know. I feel good about this episode. I feel good about where we are. I want you guys to know that I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm confidently doing it. Does that make sense? Like, and I think I was gonna say I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm not an imposter, so I'm confidently not knowing what I'm doing.
Right.
Meaning I can't tell you what's right or wrong, but I
Right.
can tell you that I'm going to constantly do it. Like, I'm going to always be on this train of I'm figuring it out, but I'll always be confident that anything I do or put out there, I'm doing it to the best of my ability, and I'm really proud of myself and how far we've come. So that is the end of today's episode. I will see you guys next week, because we're on episodes
Next month.
Oh my, no, because we're still going to be in, no, we're not. After this episode, we're going to be in February. Finally, January was so long, you guys. Oh my God, it was crazy. Jesus. But no, technically, because this is going to go out next month. This is going to go out in February.
So happy new month.
Happy new month, you guys. It's finally February. Happy Black History Month. If you celebrate. I don't know why I said that. I was thinking of Kwanzaa. I don't know why.
If you celebrate Black History Month,
I feel like that's Black History Month.
are we
is
gonna
every
have
month.
Black History Month? What if he gets cancelled?
That would be very stupid. You never fucking know. Again, hashtag.
He'll Trump.
Please. All right, guys. We love you very much. We'll see you in our next episode. When do we think we're going to end season 1 of the podcast? I'm thinking episode 25.
Why 25? Because you like
I love
25.
25.
Oh, right. Where does 25 get us?
We should do that off camera. All right. We love you guys. Mwah. See you next week. Bye, guys.